to my channel was just so touching. Thank you so much for sharing my journey. Let's get started with our fiber journey, talking about rug hooking, knitting, and spinning. I hope you enjoy these different paths that I've taken. The fiber journey is just exploding for me, and I'm having so much fun. And I look forward to walking arm in arm virtually with some of these different paths. Hopefully one of them might spur you on to try something new. Let's have fun and enjoy. Thank you. Come on, follow me. So we're going to start with the rug hooking portion. Right now I'm at my shetty camp, however you want to pronounce it. And I'm almost finished with my 30 by 72 inch hallway runner. I just have a little bit more to go. And if you notice, here's my design. Here's where I'm at. Not too far. I am thoroughly enjoying this, and I'll be really happy to get this off the frame so that I can go ahead and finish it and put it down on the floor. Here is a rug that I really do want to talk with you about. It's my owlet, a little guy that had just fledged from his nest. And my husband took the photo, and I just knew I was going to go ahead and make a rug out of it. I'm going to try to zoom in a little closer to this little guy, but as once again I went ahead and created a fuzzy type rug, primarily because this little guy still had his fuzzy feathers still sticking out of his head, and his big eyes were just adorable. So I wanted to give an impression that he was in a forest or forest floor, and just didn't want to have anything too strong to take away from him. Now I'm going to try and see if I can zoom in so that you can see. There are some locks, as you can see down here at the bottom, that I used. They're long wool locks. I also used roving in his orange area in his eyes. You'll see the fuzziness of that. I also used a lot of that in the nose area or his beak area. Please don't be afraid to use yarns, any type of fiber, whether it's felted or whether it's natural form. You can use it. It's wool. It'll be perfect for any type of embellishment that you want to add to your rugs. Here's a close-up shot of his eye, and I'm going to try and see if I can zoom in a little bit more, and you can see some of this fuzziness that's going on right here and then right here as well. This is what I'm talking about. This is the type of areas that you can bring something two-dimensional, almost into a three-dimensional, kind of like a expression of, you want to touch it, you want to have a good time with it. And experiment with colors, experiment with natural fibers. Don't just be limited to your wools that you cut. Not saying that I don't like the wools, because as you can tell, I like to play with them. But it's just an area for you to enjoy and to explore and add some little specialties to your rugs. So in the spinning segment, I'm going to start with my second hand, actually third hand, Lendrum spinning wheel. My friend from My Wool Mitten in upstate, I think it's Michigan, I could be wrong, She and I have created a very fond relationship based on this, the naming of this Lendrum. And it's called LV for Lovey, after my mother and after her friend. So what I have currently right now on the wheel is alpaca, alpaca and mohair and some silk. And I really enjoy this. It's been different for me because it's a short and long fiber, which is kind of interesting. So I am spinning it not so tightly so that I can get some of the nubs and noils in there from the silk. So I'm keeping it so that it doesn't have that rough, scratchy rope feeling, but I just really, really enjoy it. It's very, very different for me. Okay, so here is my Masha Craft. This is Aura. And what I have currently on the bobbin is my Jacob fleece, which is a very dark brown, very chocolate brown. Doesn't look like it right now, but I've been spinning, prepping, and getting this ready for a sweater quantity. So I'm going to bring you over here real slowly so that I don't get my motion sickness for myself as well as for my viewers. I use hand combs and I staple them on a table with a clamp, and then I'll comb my fibers. And this is the Jacob. This is the really dark fleece. And I'll take, for me, for what I'm doing now, I'll take the butt end and I'll slide them on my comb, and I'll show you that right now. See if I can do that one-handed without killing myself with these very sharp spines. Tines, I should say. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the butt end and I'm going to put those in down and slide those down. And I'll build this up more and more. And then I'll take the comb, which is going to be standard on a table and it's going to be clamped. I'll go ahead and take these fibers, attach them to the next comb, and vice versa until I have a nice smooth form that I want to go ahead and take a diz and pull them off. So then once I get that all finished, then I'll go ahead and put them into these little nests, and I'll undo one of my nests for you. And this is what the Jacob looks like when it gets pulled from a diz. And I'll continue this from the very beginning, and I'll pull that off of my comb, and then I'll go keep it nice and lofty, and then I'll roll that back up into a little nest, which I have several of them here. So I'm going to also show you, this is one of my plied Jacobs. Okay. And then I also have different colors from the same fleece, because if you know Jacobs, they're all different. Some of them are white and dark brown. Some of them have a little variation of the browns and then of the creams. So then I'm going to show you here with this particular yarn that's plied. I'll indicate here where the fiber came from and what year I did, and then what it is. So this is a CVM. I got 49 yards and I used my Lendrum to ply it. Now these two, I believe it's these two are for that. This one is another Jacob. So I got 90 yards, medium brown gray, and it's Jacob. And I applied this in July. So this is a medium brown, and you can see the difference of the dark brown and the lighter brown. I also have a white that or actually a cream color that I'm actually going to, I have one bobbin full, and then I'm going to go ahead and have a second bobbin so that I can two-ply. If you don't subscribe to Ply Magazine, you should really, if you want to learn more about different techniques, about different wheels, spindles, processes, techniques, and styles. This particular issue is the basics, which is so full of information, and it's something that is so well written from different artists and different people in the industry that it's such an excellent publication for us. I wanted to show you the sample that I knit up from the Jacob, this Jacob that I had two-ply. And I'll keep that as my sample so that I can, when I'm ready to put this all together and make sure that I have enough and that it represents or shows what my sample will look like when it's knit up. So I did a garter, and then I did the other basic stitch just to see how the stitch definition is. That's not bad. I enjoy it. I can't wait to get this in some type of a garment for myself. It's so soft, and I love the smell of Jacob. As I mentioned to you before on the episode 1, that I used my Majacraft Aura for textured yarns, art yarn. And this is one in particular that I had created. I actually dyed this fiber, and then I took my locks and I twisted them to form this really cool, funky, high textured yarn. I think it looks like a unicorn, what they would have for their mane. But a lot of doll makers will use the locks. In this particular yarn, you could actually weave with this, have something very high textured, different locks, whether they be long wools. I have some Teeswater, some Cotswold, just all different type of fibers. I can't even remember all the different fibers that I used. But that just gives you an idea from where I started and where I still experiment, just to kind of like, in essence, loosen my palette. When you get to the point to where you do really thin, well, for me that's thin. It wouldn't be a cobweb width on this, but from here to there, that's a big jump for me. I like to do this. I feel that it's more creative for me, but I also know that I want to go ahead and create enough to make a garment. So that's how I'm getting a little bit better on spinning for a garment's sake. Here's a couple other yarns that I spun using my Majacraft. Some of them are very simple and simply plied together. This particular, the purple, has a lot of stellina and silk in there, and just a mohair and some merino. Same with the purple. And I like to have it loosely plied. and to have a thick and thin. I'd like to sell a lot of my art yarns to weavers who like to incorporate this type of yarn into their pieces of art. Here is a shawl that I created from my hand spun art yarn, that the white, or actually cream color, was just that. It was just all natural fibers. And I created it thick and thin. I incorporated a lot of my locks. People are always afraid to try a bulky knit collage. Is really encouraging a lot of people to use these thick and thin yarns to add some dimension to your pieces and add a little funkiness to it. The pink and purple is also some of my yarns that I created, and I also have some funky pieces incorporated in I believe this was merino silk and some stellina, and I also have some yarn that I purchased that had sequins in them. So I added that to this piece just to add a little bit different concept and some striking color to it. So it's very, very warm too, so you have to have a very cold day in order to wear it. But my model seems to be wearing it pretty well. But it's so luscious and so expressive. Please try using some art yarns in your next project, even if it's just to add a little bit of dimension to it. Hi, now we're coming to the knitting segment. I ended the spinning segment with my shawl that I knit with my hand spun, more textured art yarn. Just kind of wanted to share what I do with the art yarn that I create. I also, as I mentioned, sell to my customers who like to do weaving with art yarns. So just wanted to let you know about that. Excuse me. So now you'll see this cardigan was made last year, towards the end of last year in October. And I'll stand up and show you. This is Peace Fleece yarn that I really enjoy. It's a very nice rustic yarn. Very different color for me. The button plackets, it also has pockets, if you can see that. This, I wanted to get real close so you can see. This is handmade porcelain or ceramic buttons made by Remembrance Pottery. Love her work. I'm still trying to get one of her mugs that she makes, but you can find her on Instagram. But I wanted to let you know the artist, and I wrote her name down because I knew I wouldn't remember. It's from the Making Magazine #2. It's called The Arctic Cardigan by Carrie Bostic Hoog. I really enjoyed it. I wanted to have something just very nice and basic. I loved the stand-up collar. I wanted something just to wear on these fall days when I'm going out and hanging with my husband out somewhere in the country. But I really enjoyed adding the buttons to it because the buttons seem to really add a nice texture and a nice stableness to the knitwear. Um, my red sweater, I am on Sleeve Island. I had to tear it down, or what they call frog, all the way down because I didn't like how big it was becoming. So of course this is my second and or third sleeve that I have attempted to make. So I got to get this sleeve done by this, I'm hoping by tonight, if not tomorrow. And so I can get on to my second one, because this is my birthday sweater that my friend and I, Ruby Moss Cottage, I miss you. She and I created a birthday knit along. Of course, she's a lot quicker than me and she knits a whole lot faster than me, but it's not about how fast, it's that you get it done, right? Right, Ruby Moss Cottage? No, I truly enjoy my friend Joyce. We finally got to meet last year. I enjoy her. I enjoy her podcasts. She's such a great, great person and a great friend of mine. And I will get this done, I promise. This concludes my episode 2. Thank you again for coming with me on my fiber journey and taking the different paths that I've taken. I hope one of these little side roads will bring you to a new experience, or an experience that you might just try just for a little bit. Please reach out to me in the comments below. Subscribe would be awesome. Let me know what your thoughts are. If there's anything that you'd like to talk to me a little bit about, go ahead and mark in the comments below, or go see me on Instagram under Twisted Dye Kitchen. I will respond to any question that you have. I do sell my patterns for my rug hooking. I don't post them because of copyright. People like to copy artists' work, which is a sad thing. I do have an Etsy store. You can find my products there under Twisted Dye Kitchen. Please come give me a holler. Let's chat. Let's develop a great, friendly fiber relationship. Until we meet again, enjoy.